Mr. Robinson, your screen characterization is so often that of the hard, tough guy, and I've often wondered why an actor of your caliber would settle for such a characterization, because it's so different from your own personality.
Well, actors are actors and parts are parts, you see, and ours is not to question why, ours is but to do and die. And I did die very often in the pictures whenever I was a bad boy. But the facts are sort of belie that, because out of about 80 pictures, maybe about 10 of them were actually gangsters. I think the legend has been created by the people who've given imitations of me, and it's always the tough character that I played in pictures.
Are you amused by the imitations?
Well, I'm a little bit bored with them. As a matter of fact, I rarely have heard one that sort of pleased my ears, but then they tell me we never really hear ourselves, our own selves, as other people hear us, you see. Yes. The same as it was a shock when I first got into talking pictures, to go into the projection room and hear my voice. I said, well, that isn't my voice. So probably they are right, because people accept them, and certainly I've been imitated a great deal. They tell me more than anybody else. And that has perhaps created the legend that most of my characters have been tough characters. But it doesn't matter to me so much, because people to me aren't all bad, or are they all good. Even though I may play a character like Little Caesar, I was only interested in these characters. This may shock you, as they are in all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, the Little Caesar that's in all of us, and relatively, yes. I think we all have Little Caesar in us, and we have a good character in us, too. And there's as much sympathy to be shed for a character like Little Caesar, who has great integrity about his goal being more important than himself, and ready to sacrifice any and all things, including his own life, for it. And when the gods mow him down, just as they do in the Greek classic dramas, he just, Mother of God, is this the end of Rico? He doesn't know what's happened to him when he's defied society. So it had... some of those were not too bad to play, and they were kind of compensating in many ways, aside from the monetary considerations.
Well, so many film actors really play extensions of their own personality. Now, yours is quite the reverse. Now, we find you to be a very cultured, enlightened man.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think whatever character one plays, you always play yourself. Although I enjoyed on the stage, long before I came into pictures, that I was supposed to be a very versatile actor. An actor always strives for that, and I rather liked it. I don't know what I would have been a type for. I had to be typed, considering my size and my looks. And so I had a diversity of characters. Well, whatever the characters are, no matter how diverse they may be, they're really, when you play them, you really play yourself. Because I sort of have a funny feeling that I'm all people and all people are me. Yeah. And I only played Little Caesar as I understood him. And if I played another kind of character who is, let us say, a sympathetic character, I merely played him as he was in all of us, you see. I was only interested in I didn't know any gangsters when I played these gangster roles, but I only assumed a certain outward characteristics, and then what I did after that is, I think, what really counted, and that is showing the human being that's there. A man like Little Caesar, who had an uncontrollable desire to reach the top of the heap, and ready to do anything and everything to achieve it. Well, relatively speaking, we all do the same thing, or if we don't do it, we have speculated on the idea. And I think it was rather that universal something, that human side of him, that made him a kind of an understandable character. What if I make myself understood?
You do indeed. Yes. I'm just wondering, in terms of what you said.
So it's really you and I.
Yes.
It's always yourself that you're playing, as you understand and as you see that character.
Have you been pleased with your film career?
Well, it's very difficult to say that one is pleased with anything. You're always striving for something better. Well, I think it's taken up too much of my life. Now that you've asked me that, for about 16, 17 years, I was on the stage before I came out here in pictures, and I was on Broadway, where I did 40 plays, new plays that were just being born. And then when I came into pictures in 1929-30, kind of a lucrative business out here, and allowed me a great deal of leisure time to indulge my own curiosities between pictures, to go all over the world. So I was kind of weaned away from the theater, and as the years went on, and my being out here in Hollywood, I was more and more afraid to go back to the stage. But I should like to have done so many more things in the theater than I have done, and I should like to have interchanged my activities between the theater and pictures. But unfortunately, in the United States, it was pretty difficult for an actor to do that. We're 3,000 miles away from Broadway, and the picture business in the United States, Hollywood, you know, is the center of motion pictures, and it kind of dwarfed the theater. And so it was rather difficult to go back. You see an actor in London or in Paris, the theater and the pictures are concentrated right there, and so they sort of interchange their activities between the two. And besides, the pictures both that were made in England and in France or in any other part of the world were not as important as the pictures that were made out here over the years. Yeah. Because we were the market for the world. Here was the place where we were manufacturing entertainment, you see, for the world.
I'm thinking that...
And creating sometime entertainment.
Your lucrative film career, as you refer to it, has enabled you to be one of Hollywood's leading art collectors. You have a magnificent collection of paintings in your home here.
Well, yes, to be custodian for the time being, you see, that's all. You don't really...
you never own a painting.
You never really own pictures, they own you. Yes, I must say that when I appeared on the stage and doing Sheridan and Shaw and Shakespeare, I could only look at paintings, but then they put me through a succession of sizzling electric chairs and all kinds of things. They began to appear on my walls. So there's been some compensation there, great compensation for that matter.